What's going on, everybody? It's the Bulls Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, this might be the worst day to pre-record loads and loads and loads of videos for you guys and for other channels as well, of course. Just because of the fact, I guess, I don't really want to talk about the Chicago Bulls right now. But, again, what's got to be done has to be done. And therefore, today, we're going to be talking about my honest thoughts and opinions on the trade deadline for the Chicago Bulls. I'll try to keep it as unbiased as possible. But as you all can clearly see from my last video, I'm clearly not happy with the situation. And I don't think, after a couple of hours of really contemplating it, it's gotten any better. So, we'll talk about it in this video. I've obviously watched AK's press conference as well. Trying to, I guess, understand where he's coming from in some ways, trying to analyze why we've been 1 out of 2 teams, or sorry, 2 out of 28 teams, we're one of them that has not made a deal whatsoever to change anything about this team. I want to understand it a little bit more. I don't get why we would do something like that. But again, looking at what he had to say, and of course just trying to contemplate on it, I guess this is my final thoughts on the situation, and I will no longer be discussing the trade deadline anymore for the Chicago Bulls. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Bulls Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Bulls and their trade deadline experience, and I guess what's next for this Bulls team. AK made sure to I guess mention this constantly. We have 28 games to see what the Chicago Bulls team is all about. He did not say he's going to keep this team for the foreseeable future. He did not say he's going to, I guess, allow this team to be a Bulls team the same way next season either. And yes, they may all be good possibilities, but he's made sure to reiterate these things constantly, that this team has 28 days to step the hell up. And if they can't step the hell up, then I hope AK has what it takes to, I guess, move some of these pieces around, because, again, I can't handle another season of this Bulls team like this, when we're expected and we've been projected and we've been told by so many different people that this Bulls team's going to compete. This Bulls team is going to be good this season, and in every single way, form or fashion, not only have those people been let down, but we've been sold a lie in many ways about this Bulls team, and it's something I can't really stand watching on a consistent level every single game. And yes, I do it. I do it because I love talking about the Bulls. I do it because obviously there are so many people that feel the same way as I do, or feel the same way as other people do, and that's why there are people that make videos out there. That's why there is social media out there, so people can express themselves in certain ways. Obviously in a respectful manner, I should say. But how do I feel about this trade deadline? My first initial reaction you've already seen, because again, I was not awake at this trade deadline because I just had a funny feeling we weren't going to do anything. We just weren't going to do anything. I had a funny feeling we weren't going to do anything, and lo and behold, that turned out to be true. So I woke up when the game was starting. I watched the first quarter of the game. I was reading some of the messages that I got about the Bulls and how pissed off people are, and I felt the same way. I was furious. I was upset. I just didn't get it. I didn't get it. So, again, you saw my initial reaction, but not much has changed from then till now, in all honesty. Yes, it's the same day, so I don't think you can expect a lot to change in that amount of time. But right now, what I can say is I'm extremely frustrated. I'm extremely disappointed by this Bulls team, from top to bottom. Putting the blame on one person is irrelevant here. Putting the blame on Arturas Karnisovas and Mark Eversley and them alone, it's just not feasible to me to do. I think everybody, from the ownership all the way down to the front office, and of course to the players that have put us in this situation, along with the coaching staff, for us to want and need trades, because at the end of the day, this team is talented enough to compete, but they've not done it, and they're not it's like they don't really care anymore about their own circumstances. You hear all the right words, you see all the right things that they say, but it never ever reflects on the court, because other teams are feeling the same way. Other teams want to make their season right. Other teams want to succeed and compete, and as much as the Bulls want it, it's clear we don't want it enough as other teams, and that's why we struggle, and that's why we fail, and that's why a lot of people are leaving today extremely disappointed with this Bulls team from the top to the bottom, and that's exactly how I feel. I don't know if the Bulls front office is brave or stupid. I can't tell if they're brave or stupid, because a lot of people just instantly say they're stupid. I can't believe they did something like this. They're inept at their job. It's like they can't do anything right. But it takes some serious balls to know that this fan base wants trades done. They want something different, and they stood still and they stayed put, and nothing actually happened. In my opinion, that takes balls. That takes a lot of bravery. I think it's a combination of both in many ways, brave and stupid, because I've even said not making a trade at this point and staying with what you have in the middle is the stupidest thing to do. It's the dumbest thing to do, and we've done it. That's exactly what we did. So I think it's stupid, of course, but at the same time, it's brave, because again, they surely would have known that the I guess fan base's reaction to this. They would have known. They're not stupid people. They're very smart, intellectual people. You don't get into a position like that if you don't have any sort of intelligence about you. They surely would have known the reaction that the Bulls fans were going to give to them and give to this entire organization in general, but they still decided to stay put. I think that's extremely brave of them, I've got to be honest, and that's the only positive I can really take away from this situation, despite what many people wanted, what many people believed was the right outcome. Making trades, minor trades or big trades, it didn't really matter, and they didn't do any of it. Now, that's not for the lack of trying. They've even admitted this themselves. They wanted to make trades. They were very active in the trade period. Now, I don't know if that's a lie or not. I'm not here to say if that's a lie or not. Personally, I felt like you were active in the trade deadline, but I personally think you were very, very, very hesitant to make deals. And that's kind of what they said. They said, we were willing to make trades, we're willing to improve this team, but at what cost? And this is where it gets me a little bit. This is where it upsets me a little bit, because clearly the cost was not that high, at least from what I saw from how other teams did deals in this trade period. The cost was not that high. There were so many players that we've been linked to in the past, so many players that we probably could still use now in buyout situations that went for ridiculously cheap. And yes, I understand you like this group. Look, honestly, if it wasn't for the miserable season we've had, go look back at the start of the season videos. For me, I like this group as well. I have liked this group. It's kind of impossible for me to not like a Chicago Bulls team. Despite what they do to me in many ways, or what they do to many Bulls fans, it's almost impossible for me to not like these Bulls players, not like this Bulls team. But again, just liking your group and thinking you have a good group sometimes isn't enough. And it's clear that this group does not work together, whether you like them or not, whether they're good or not. Some of these players are exceptional players. Again, Vucevic was a fantastic player in the Orlando Magic. Zach LaVine was, for the early stages of the Chicago Bulls, in many ways, the only reason that we actually watched basketball as a Bulls fan when he's been here. He was kind of the only reason for many people. I understand that. DeMar DeRozan has been a veteran, a player of impressive stature in his entire career. He's been one of the most entertaining players to watch in the NBA, because he doesn't do things that normal stars do. He does them differently, and he makes his game effective in his own ways. So again, I like these players, but liking these players sometimes is not enough. You have to learn when enough is enough, and sometimes, again, just waiting and hoping things to change is just not the right direction to go with. What I said before and what I'll say now, staying in one place, remaining stagnant while other teams push forward is the worst thing to do. Go look at any sport in which people have bad owners or people have bad front offices, and they all say the same things and they all do the same things in many ways. They stay stagnant, they stay put, they want to make sure that the team that they have is the right team, and it always comes back to bite them. They're not willing to make the changes when changes truly need to be made. So again, it's very, very frustrating to see that. I'm not saying this front office is absolutely terrible, but I hate to see this Bulls team stand put when we know that wasn't the right choice, or at least I know in my heart of hearts, whether they tried hard enough or not, it was not the right choice to keep this team the way that it was. Even small trades could have been done. There was trade assets out there for the Bulls that we could have acquired, and again, we've put a lot of this to waste in my opinion, and that's just how I feel. That's personally what I think, but it takes some guts for them to do that, knowing the reaction Bulls fans are still giving them. So I don't know if they're brave or stupid or a little bit of both, but that's how I feel about the situation. That's how I feel about free agency. And maybe, just maybe, I would have been a little bit more understanding of the situation if there were a lot of other teams that were very hesitant, just like the Bulls were. But again, we are only one of two teams that did nothing this trade period. 28 other teams in the NBA thought it was best to make at least one move and project their future and push in a different direction, or push towards a meaningful direction for their own, I guess, seasons and for their future as well. 28 teams did that. So, in my opinion, that leaves no excuse for the Bulls to be one of those teams that simply did not. 28 teams. Again, when I last talked about this, it seemed to be a handful of teams at best. Brooklyn, the Mavericks, and that was really about it. The others were just extremely minor trades that happened earlier on in the season, really. But that trade deadline, the ending of it, it was dramatic. It was, again, a lot of people, the whole team, the whole league has shifted, and a lot of people said this trade period would be quiet, but that wasn't true. It just simply isn't the case. That was one of the most hectic trade deadlines I think we have seen in a long time, especially when it comes to star power and the quality of players that are leaving different teams. So again, 28 other teams decided to make moves. Small moves, big moves, it didn't matter. The Bulls didn't decide to do that. So again, I don't think it's an excuse that you wanted to stay put, or that you, at what cost was it worth, because there were clearly moves that we could have made. Go look at the transactions in the trade deadline and tell me that there was some good opportunities to get some players there that was not at what cost type scenario, like we had to give up everything to go and get them. It's not true in my opinion. So look, I'm very disappointed. I think the front office, in terms of your objectives and goals this season, you said that you're emotional after every time we lose. Arturas Karnisovas said this, and he said it again. And he said that he wanted to make this team better. He said it again now. And he said he's going to do everything he can to get this team to improve. And in my opinion, in the trade deadline, this scenario, you failed that objective by doing absolutely nothing. You can't say something like that and then go on and your actions are absolutely nothing. You can't do that. So, in my opinion, the front office in this trade deadline has failed. We'll wait and see what happens in the future. Was it absolutely in peril 100% we had to make a trade? Of course not. It wasn't 100% we had to do this, because at the end of the day, for many people, I even said it in one of my last videos, even if we made small trades, what big difference does it make if the core remains here and remains the same? Because they're going to be the key to us winning or losing. If they fail to deliver on consistent levels every single night, we're not going to win regardless of minor trades that we make. I understand that. I respect that by people that would suggest that. But no, it's not impossible. It's not, I guess, in peril that we didn't make any trades. But I can't lie and say that it's the right move to make. I'm disappointed and I don't believe it was the right move to make. But we still got the off-season now. Again, AK reiterated constantly, you've got 28 games to step up your game. Step up or step aside. That's how I feel about this situation. So this Bulls team has to prove themselves in the next 28 games. He said he'll look at the buyout market. To be honest, I'll talk a lot about who are the players. I'll talk a lot about some players in the buyout market, potential buyouts and whatnot. But I'll say is this: it's clear to me that I don't think a buyout's going to make a big difference to this team either. Yes, it's good to have moves in. There's some point guards out there that clearly the Bulls want a point guard, so you could get a point guard into this team. But in all honesty, I just don't know what can be done to really save this team and make this team competitive and really competitive, not just the semi-inconsistent instead of just regular inconsistent like we are. I don't know what can be done. We'll wait and see what decisions the Bulls make in the future. The offseason has to be a big one in my opinion. You have to make a lot of decisions. What I found extremely disappointing about this trade deadline as well is that clearly the Bulls are not going to keep all of their expiring deals for long-term contracts. You're not going to keep Io, Vooch, Kobe, and Javonte Green alongside of player options like Andre Drummond and Goran Dragic and Derek Jones, I believe, on this team. There are player options at stake. There are expiring contracts at stake. There are so much decisions that the Bulls had to make in order to change this team. And in my opinion, they've ignored all of that. So you're going to see some of these guys leave for nothing, in my opinion. Yes, Torres Carnosova said in his press conference that they'll find ways. They'll find a way. And I trust them in that way. They've done signing trades before. When we've had little to no cap space, they've made deals come out of nothing. We've absolutely fleeced some teams with our Torres Carnosovas as at the helm of the Chicago Bulls. I think Thaddeus Young and the first round pick for DeMar DeRozan was one of the best trades we've ever made. And I'll stand by that. I don't care how bad our Bulls team is. I really think that trade was worth it. The Lonzo Ball trade, granted because of the injuries, but both Garrett Temple and Satoransky, I don't believe are in the league anymore. And Lonzo Ball, granted he is injured, but I still think that was a good trade. We've made some good trades. We've made things happen out of nothing. So I trust them to do that. I just hope that they have the idea in their heads that this team right now is not going to cut it. And if it's not in their heads right now, then they have 28 games to find it in their heads. Because if they're going to persist on this core, I don't think I can handle another season of this. Either that core has to dramatically improve out of nowhere, or I think it's really time to just move on from some of these pieces, big and small, in my humble opinion. And we're not going to keep Kobe, Ayo, Derek Jones, Andre Drummond, Goran Dragic, Nikola Vucevic. We're not going to keep all of these guys. Some of these guys are going to leave this team. And the fact that we could have cashed in on some of them if we decided to do so, and we simply did not. Again, there are potentially more options that we could have done that we didn't do that would have made us a little bit better. So that's something we have to live with as well. But yes, I'm disappointed. No, I'm not going to scream and shout. I've already done that. I don't need to scream and shout here as well. But I am disappointed, and there's nothing that can really change my mind on that at the moment. Buyouts, we'll wait and see. But again, I think the buyout market, we should have been all over that even if we made trades. We should not just be talking about buyouts because we've done nothing here. We should have always been in the conversation for buyouts, and we should have always been in conversations for trades. So doing one and not doing the other, in my opinion, was unacceptable. So we'll wait and see obviously what will happen. I'll end this video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. If I've missed anything, let me know in the comments below. And congratulations to all the teams that got better. Congratulations to all the teams in the East that got better. Brooklyn was obviously a team that got a little bit worse. We just lost to them, so who am I to say that? Atlanta got a little bit better, I believe. I think the Knicks got a little bit better, I believe. And a lot of the West teams got better as well, including the Lakers. So, and the Raptors as well got better, if I'm not mistaken. They got Podol on their team once again. So, big moves made by different teams, and we've missed out. It's not the end of the world, I'll say that. For any Bulls fans that want to have some small optimism out there, it's not the end of the world that we did nothing, but I can't sit here and say I'm happy about it, and I can't sit here and say it's the right decision. I hope you understand. If not, fair enough. Each to their own. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.